Welcome to the Narcissism Freedom channel, where we dive deep into the truths about narcissistic behavior, recovery, and empowerment. Today's video might challenge your thinking and even make you a bit uncomfortable, but that's where real transformation begins. Have you ever wondered if some of your behaviors might resemble those of a narcissist? Maybe someone said it to you, or maybe you noticed a reaction in yourself that didn't sit right. Today, we're breaking down 5 shocking traits that may suggest you've developed narcissistic tendencies, and you might not even know it. This isn't about blame. It's about self-awareness and how that awareness can set you free. Let's get something clear. Having narcissistic traits does not mean you are a narcissist. We all have moments of selfishness, pride, or emotional shutdown. But when these traits become consistent ways of relating, they can deeply affect how we connect with others and ourselves. Narcissism exists on a spectrum. At the extreme end is narcissistic personality disorder. But most people who fall somewhere in the middle have learned behaviors that can be unlearned. If we can be honest about our patterns, we can change them. The first trait is chronic defensiveness. Have you ever found yourself instantly shutting down when someone gives you feedback? Do you feel attacked, even if someone is trying to help? Defensiveness is often rooted in fear, a fear of being exposed, criticized, or not being good enough. In narcissistic patterns, this defensiveness becomes constant. Every suggestion feels like a threat. The ego becomes so fragile that it can't tolerate anything that resembles correction. You might shift the blame, withdraw, or become angry. The truth is, many people were never taught how to receive constructive criticism without feeling shame. Recognizing this behavior is the first step. When you start to see feedback as growth instead of attack, you reclaim power over your own development. The second trait is subtle emotional manipulation. Most people imagine manipulation as something intentional and malicious, but in reality, it's often much more subtle and common. Have you ever guilt-tripped someone to get your way? Withheld affection to prove a point? Or expected someone to just know what you need without expressing it? These behaviors are emotionally manipulative, even if they're not conscious. Many of us learn to communicate through guilt, silence, or pressure because that's what we saw growing up. But what worked for survival doesn't always work for healthy relationships. Honest, direct communication feels risky, but it builds trust. Learning to speak your truth, without games or expectations, is emotional maturity. And it's the opposite of manipulation. The third trait is entitlement and the need to be the exception. This one's uncomfortable for many. It shows up when you feel irritated about following the same rules as everyone else or believe your needs should always come first. You might justify being late, cutting corners, or ignoring boundaries because you believe your situation is different. And you might not even realize how often you expect special treatment. Entitlement is sneaky. It often hides behind stress, self-importance, or even victimhood. But no matter how hard life has been, believing you're above accountability creates resentment, not respect. Growth comes when we recognize that responsibility isn't punishment, it's power. The world doesn't owe us grace, but we can choose to live with integrity anyway. The fourth trait is image obsession and validation seeking. We live in a world of highlights, filters, and constant performance. But for people with narcissistic tendencies, appearances become everything. You may feel pressure to always look successful, happy, in control, even when you're struggling. You may tie your self-worth to likes, praise, or external success. And when the applause fades, so does your sense of identity. This constant chasing of validation is exhausting, and it's usually rooted in early emotional neglect. If no one affirmed your worth as a child, you may grow up constantly seeking approval to feel enough. But validation built on image is never lasting. Real confidence comes when you choose truth over performance, when you decide your worth doesn't need to be earned, displayed, or defended. The fifth trait is lack of genuine empathy. This doesn't mean you don't care. It means you might struggle to hold space for others without making it about you. If someone shares pain and you quickly shift the conversation to your own story, or if your first instinct is to defend yourself instead of listen, that's a lack of true empathy. Narcissistic patterns tend to prioritize self-preservation over connection. But empathy is a skill. It requires patience, presence, and a willingness to sit with discomfort. You don't have to fix someone else's pain, but you do have to be willing to hear it without minimizing or redirecting it. Real empathy says, I may not understand exactly how you feel, but I care enough to try. So now you've heard the 5 traits: chronic defensiveness, subtle emotional manipulation, entitlement and the need to be the exception, image obsession and validation seeking, and lack of genuine empathy. Maybe you saw yourself in one, maybe more. The truth is, many of us carry these patterns, and most of them were formed from pain, not cruelty. Being honest about that pain takes courage, but awareness gives you choices. You're not locked into who you were yesterday. You can change. You can unlearn. You can reconnect with who you truly are underneath the ego's defenses. Healing from narcissistic tendencies doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're waking up. It means you're noticing the behaviors that once protected you and realizing they don't serve you anymore. It means you're ready for deeper, healthier connections with others and with yourself. If this video stirred something in you, take a breath. That discomfort is growth beginning. Keep choosing honesty. Keep choosing reflection over reaction. Every step you take toward truth brings you closer to real freedom. Thank you for watching and taking the time to reflect with us. If this video helped you, please like, share, and subscribe to the Narcissism Freedom channel. Your support helps us continue to create content that promotes healing, truth, and emotional empowerment. Drop a comment below if you resonated with any of these traits or if you've been working to change them in your life. You are not alone. You're growing. You're learning. And most importantly, you're becoming free.